You are resting now, your breath slow and steady, your body softened by the rhythm of night. Around you, the world feels quiet, but beneath your feet, the earth is never still. Deep below the surface, far under rock and soil, heat moves, rock melts, and molten currents flow. It is not chaos. It is not fury. It is a slow, patient circulation, a heartbeat you cannot hear, yet one that shapes the world you live upon. Tonight, you will descend gently into that hidden heart. Learning how fire waits beneath the quiet earth, close your eyes and picture the planet as a layered sphere. At the very center lies the core, a glowing heart of iron, partly solid, partly molten, radiating heat outward. Around it lies the mantle, thick and vast, its rocks not still but flowing ever so slowly, like honey in motion. Above that rests the crust, thin, brittle, fractured into plates. You live upon this crust, this fragile skin. Beneath it, heat stirs, rises, and waits, seeking places where it can emerge. Breathe gently. Volcanoes are not random mountains of fire. They are pores in Earth's skin, vents through which the hidden heat can breathe. Just as your body exhales through your lungs, Earth exhales through volcanoes. Gas escapes, lava flows, pressure releases. Sometimes the breath is gentle, as in the quiet steaming of geysers. Sometimes it is fierce, as in towering eruptions. But always, it is breath, earth, reminding you that it is alive, restless, still forming itself. Now imagine magma, the molten rock, deep in the mantle. It is not always fluid like water. It is dense, glowing, moving slowly through fractures and chambers. Picture it glowing red, like coals hidden beneath ash. Sometimes it rises toward the crust, filling reservoirs called magma chambers. These are like lungs beneath the Earth's skin, filling with breath, waiting. Most of the time, they rest there quietly, held in place by pressure and rock. But sometimes, the chambers expand, the gases build, and Earth exhales in eruption. Pause here, and let this soothe you. Eruptions are not only destruction, they are part of the rhythm of life, cycles of renewal and change. Lava hardens into new land. Ash enriches soils. Even in fire, there is creation. Breathe slowly. Think of the landscapes you know, islands born from lava, mountains sculpted by eruptions, valleys filled with ash long since turned fertile. Without hidden fire, Earth would be barren rock, unmoved, unchanging. Instead, the planet breathes and shifts. Supervolcanoes are only the grandest expressions of this truth. They are not separate from ordinary volcanoes, but part of the same continuum, only larger, deeper, more powerful, now drift deeper into Earth's crust. Picture tectonic plates, massive slabs of rock, moving slowly over mantle currents. Where they collide, magma rises. Where they pull apart, fissures open, fire seeps upward. Volcanoes form along these boundaries, clustered in arcs, chains, and ridges. From space, Earth glows with them, the ring of fire circling the Pacific. Hot spots dotting oceans, calderas resting silently in plains. Each is a mark of connection between hidden fire and surface life. Pause once more. Let this bring you peace. What lies beneath is not alien, not separate. It is part of you, for your life depends on this restless earth. Without moving plates, without volcanic breath, there would be no mountains, no continents, no rich soils to grow your food. Even the air you breathe carries gases once exhaled by volcanoes long ago. breathe deeply. Consider also how long Earth has carried this fire. For billions of years, heat from formation, from radioactive decay, from the compression of the core has pulsed outward. The mantle flows slowly, the crust fractures, the surface reshapes. Volcanoes are only brief expressions, short exhalations in a long rhythm. Supervolcanoes, when they erupt, are vast sighs of energy, but still only sighs in the planet's deep time. Now imagine yourself standing in a caldera, a vast bowl, silent now, grass and forests covering its floor. It feels like a meadow, calm, still, but beneath lies memory, chambers once filled with magma, eruptions once vast enough to change climate. You stand in stillness, but the earth remembers. The quiet ground holds hidden fire. Pause softly. Let this truth settle in you. Calm on the surface does not mean silence beneath. The earth is layered with time and energy, most of it unseen. As you rest deeper, picture the world's great volcanic systems: Yellowstone in North America, Toba in Indonesia, Topo in New Zealand, Campi Flegrei in Italy. Each lies silent now, watched closely, studied carefully. None erupt in your lifetime perhaps, or even for millennia. Yet they remind you that beneath stillness lies power, beneath calm lies waiting. Breathe gently. The lesson is this: to live on Earth is to live on a breathing planet. You rest upon crust, but beneath you flow rivers of heat, seas of magma, patient and powerful. This is not cause for fear, but for awe. You are part of a living world, carried on its breath. Now close your eyes again, and imagine listening to the earth, not to earthquakes or explosions, but to the slow hum of magma currents, the deep thrum of heat moving upward. It is like a heartbeat, patient, eternal. You do not hear it in daily life, but it is always there, keeping the planet alive. You are resting now, your breath soft and measured, your body sinking deeper into the stillness of night. Already, you have traveled beneath the surface of Earth, glimpsed the hidden fires that lie below, and felt their quiet hum. Tonight, you drift deeper still, into the silence where magma waits. For fire does not always rush. It gathers. It lingers. It holds its breath in stillness until the moment comes to move. This patience is its power, and in its silence lies the secret of Supervolcanoes. Close your eyes and imagine a vast underground chamber. It is not empty, but filled with molten rock, magma, glowing softly, moving in slow currents like the deep ocean. Around it, walls of solid stone hold it in place. Pressure builds gradually, not in sudden bursts, but in slow increments, like drops of water filling a vessel. Days pass, years, centuries, even millennia, and still the magma rests, pushing gently, silently. To live on Earth is to live above these hidden reservoirs, never noticing them, yet always carried by their patience. Breathe gently. Pressure is not violence. It is simply imbalance, forces seeking equilibrium. Gases dissolved in magma expand as heat rises, bubbles forming deep below. Each bubble presses outward, and together they build. Rock above strains, bends, lifts. The crust may crack, but often it holds. To your eyes on the surface, nothing changes. Grass grows, rivers flow, seasons turn. But beneath, the silence grows taut, like the stillness of a bowstring before release. Now imagine magma as breath held in lungs. The chamber is full, but exhalation does not yet come. The earth waits. Sometimes this waiting lasts longer than civilizations. Thousands of years may pass with no sign of eruption. Yet in silence, pressure builds. This is the patience of supervolcanoes, not frequent explosions, but rare and immense, storing energy over spans of time beyond memory. Pause here, and let this truth soothe you. What waits is not constant danger, but rhythm. Earth's silence is part of its balance. Breathe slowly. Think of how scientists read these hidden pressures. Satellites measure the rise and fall of ground, subtle bulges invisible to the eye. Seismographs listen for tremors, the faint crackle of rock shifting under strain. Instruments sniff the air for gases escaping quietly from the ground. These are signs not of eruption, but of breath stirring in sleep. The sleeper turns slightly, exhales faintly, then rests again. Even supervolcanoes breathe in dreams before they awaken. Now drift into the timescales of waiting. Human lives are brief compared to Earth's rhythms. A century may pass without eruption. 1,000 years may hold only silence, but deep time carries a different pace. In 10,000 years, pressure accumulates. In 100,000, chambers fill and refill. To Earth, this is natural. To you, it feels vast and unimaginable. Yet within this span, fire waits, held by silence. Pause once more. Let this bring peace. Not every silence is absence. Some silences are full, rich, alive with potential. The stillness beneath your feet is not emptiness, but waiting. Breathe deeply. Consider the mechanics of this waiting. Magma chambers are not solid reservoirs like lakes. They are spongy networks of melt and rock. Pressure seeps through fractures, gathers in pockets, pushes upward. Sometimes it escapes gently through hot springs, fumaroles, or geysers. Sometimes it leaks quietly into the crust, cooling before it ever erupts. The grand eruptions are rare because so much of the pressure is released in small ways. The earth knows how to exhale softly before it sighs in thunder. Now imagine standing on the surface above a hidden chamber. The ground beneath you looks ordinary: fields, forests, hills. Birds sing, rivers flow, people live their lives. Yet kilometers below, magma presses outward, shifting slowly, shaping the land. The silence feels complete, but beneath is a dialogue of stone and heat. Pause softly. Let yourself rest in this thought. Appearances are not the whole story. Calm above may hide quiet energy below. As you rest deeper, picture Yellowstone. Beneath its geysers and hot pools lies a vast magma chamber, stretching for miles. Pressure moves within it, gases rise, ground swells and falls. Yet it has not erupted in hundreds of thousands of years. Its silence is long, but not empty. It is a rhythm in which patience is part of the story. Breathe gently. The lesson is this: magma waits because the earth is not reckless. Pressure builds, but balance holds until the moment of release. Waiting is not weakness. It is strength. Now close your eyes again and imagine pressure as a lullaby. It hums softly beneath the crust, a note too low for you to hear, yet steady and present. You rest upon it each night without fear, carried by its silence. And in that silence, you learn patience. You are resting now, your breath slow and steady, your body cradled by the softness of night. Already, you have felt the hidden fires beneath Earth's skin. and you have listened to the silence where magma waits in patience. Tonight, you drift into memory. Not your memory, not even humanity's memory, but Earth's memory. For the planet carries scars, written into stone and soil, that tell of eruptions so vast they reshaped the sky and cooled the world. These are the echoes of the past, reminders of what has been, whispers of what may come again. Close your eyes and imagine peeling back the surface of the earth, as though opening the pages of an ancient book. Each layer of rock is a chapter, each stratum a record of fire and silence. Ash falls in blankets, burying landscapes. Lava spreads and hardens, layer upon layer. With time, rivers carved through it, winds erode it, but the story remains written. Geologists are readers of these chapters, tracing ash layers across continents, identifying minerals that form only in volcanic fire. Listening to the ancient echoes left behind, breathe gently. Some eruptions are known because of their visible scars. Calderas stretch wide, silent bowls formed when magma chambers emptied and the ground above collapsed. The landscape looks like a valley, peaceful and green. Yet beneath its stillness lies memory of an eruption that once shook the sky. Other eruptions are known by ash, layers discovered in sediments, thin lines of grey or white separating each line is an echo, a boundary between times. Now imagine standing in Taupo, New Zealand, a lake shimmering blue under the sky. To your eyes, it looks like peace, water reflecting clouds. Yet beneath the lake lies a vast caldera, the scar of one of Earth's most powerful eruptions. Around 26,000 years ago, Taupo released energy so vast it spread ash across oceans, painting sunsets, cooling air. The lake you see today is a mirror laid gently over a wound. Pause here and let this soothe you. Scars do not only tell of pain, they tell of survival. Earth endured, life endured, and in the calm after fire, new landscapes bloomed. Breathe slowly. Think of the eruption of Tambora in 1815. Smaller than the great supervolcanoes, yet still vast enough to cool the world. Ash and gases spread into the stratosphere, veiling sunlight. The year that followed became known as the year without a summer. Crops failed. Snow fell in June. Skies dimmed with strange hues. Poets wrote of dark suns and endless twilight. Even centuries later, the echoes of that eruption remain in memory, not only in rock but in story. Now drift further back, to the eruption of Toba around 74,000 years ago. It is said to have been one of the greatest in human history, perhaps reducing global temperatures by several degrees. Perhaps pressing humanity itself into near extinction. Layers of ash still mark India and Southeast Asia, a grey echo of fire that once darkened the world. Whether humanity nearly ended or simply endured hardship, the scar remains, both in geology and in myth. Pause once more. Let this bring you peace. Even in the greatest fires, life persists. Even when skies darken, dawn eventually returns. Breathe deeply. Consider how echoes of eruptions are traced not only in rocks but in ice. Deep in Antarctica and Greenland, ice cores preserve tiny particles of ash and trapped gases. Each layer of ice is a page of memory, thin yet precise, carrying the record of eruptions across millennia. By reading these frozen books, scientists trace the rhythm of fire when volcanoes erupted. How far their breath carried, how much the skies dimmed. The ice is memory made solid. Now imagine the human connection to these echoes. Myths of fire and darkness, stories of mountains that breathe, gods of flame and ash. Long before science, people knew that Earth carried hidden fire. They told stories to make sense of echoes they could not explain. The myths endure, woven into cultures, reminders of awe. Science now adds detail, but the wonder remains. Pause softly. Let yourself rest in this thought. Memory is carried in many forms, in stone, in ice, in story. Each one whispers the same truth. Earth is alive, and its breath is vast. As you rest deeper, picture the calderas of Yellowstone, silent basins stretching wide. Picture the fields of ash in Italy from Campi Flegrei, still fertile centuries later. Picture the scars of Toba, Topo. Each is a reminder that eruptions are not only events, but transitions, shaping climate, life, and history. The echoes remain not to frighten you, but to remind you of Earth's patience and power. Breathe gently. The lesson is this: to look at Earth's scars is to remember that you live upon a changing planet. Fire rises, ash falls, climate shift, yet always life endures. You are part of that endurance, carried forward by ancestors who survived, walking upon land shaped by ancient fire. Now close your eyes again and imagine listening to the Earth's echoes. Beneath silence, you hear the whisper of eruptions past, carried in stone and air. They are not threats, but songs of memory. And in listening, you understand the past is not gone. It breathes still, guiding your awareness of what may come. You are resting now, your breath deep and calm, your body softened by the hush of night. Already, you have walked through the echoes of past eruptions, traced the scars of Topo, Tambora, and Yellowstone's quiet expanse. Tonight, you drift into one of the most profound memories the Earth carries, the great eruption of Toba. It was not only an event of fire and ash, but a moment when humanity itself stood near the edge of survival. To remember Toba is to remember fragility, but also resilience. The quiet strength of life, even when skies darken. Close your eyes and imagine the world 74,000 years ago. Humanity is young, small in number, scattered across Africa and Asia. The Earth is colder than today, caught in the grip of an ice age, glaciers sprawling, climates harsh. And then, beneath the calm of Indonesia, the sleeping fire stirs. Deep magma chambers fill, gases gather, pressure grows. The mountain that is now Lake Toba trembles, and in a moment of release, the world changes. Breathe gently. The eruption is almost beyond imagining. Ash surges into the sky, not just kilometers, but tens of kilometers high, piercing the stratosphere. A column of fire and rock towers into the heavens, collapsing and rising again, feeding itself in waves. Pyroclastic flows race across the land, rivers of ash and gas that move faster than storms. The mountain collapses into itself, forming a caldera more than 60 miles wide. What was once a summit becomes a hollow, later filled with water. Now a vast lake, but then a scar of unimaginable scale. Now picture the ash. It falls thick across Asia, piling meters deep in some places. Thinner, but still present across Africa, India, even the Arabian Peninsula. Rivers are buried, forests smothered, plains turned grey. Sunlight dims. In the upper atmosphere, sulfur aerosols spread, reflecting sunlight, cooling the earth. For years, perhaps a decade or more, skies are veiled. The world enters a volcanic winter. Pause here, and let this truth settle. Even the air you breathe can change when Earth exhales deeply. Breathe slowly. Scientists still debate how severe the aftermath was. Some suggest humanity's numbers dwindled to only a few thousand, huddled in small groups, surviving famine and cold. Others argue the effect was less extreme, hardship but not near extinction. Either way, Toba left a mark. Ash layers in India and Malaysia testify to its reach. Genetic studies suggest a bottleneck in human populations, a narrowing of diversity that may reflect survival through this trial. Humanity continued, but smaller, more fragile, carrying scars in both body and memory. Now imagine the nights under Toba's ash-darkened skies. Stars veiled, the moon dim, days colder and shorter. Crops, where they existed, failed. Hunters found prey scarcer. Fires became more vital, shelters more precious. Yet even in this darkness, humans endured. They adapted, they migrated, they clung to life. The same spark of resilience that would one day build civilizations glowed faintly even then. Pause once more. Let this bring you comfort. Fragility and resilience are not opposites. They coexist. To be fragile is to be breakable, but to be resilient is to bend and endure. Humanity was both, and still is. Breathe deeply. Consider what Toba teaches. First, that Earth's supervolcanoes are not only geological curiosities, but forces that shape life itself. Second, that survival is possible even when the sky grows dim. And third, that memory is carried not only in rock and ash, but in the very genes of humanity, passed down across millennia. You carry Toba's memory within you, even if you never knew its name. Now drift into the present. Today, Lake Toba rests quietly, a shimmering expanse in Sumatra, its waters calm, its shores green. Tourists visit, unaware of the story beneath. Fishermen cast nets, children play, villagers thrive. Yet beneath the lake lies the memory of fire, the caldera of a supervolcano. It sleeps now, perhaps for another 100,000 years, perhaps less, perhaps more. Its silence is long, but it is not emptiness. It is patience. Pause softly. Let yourself feel this. The greatest events can fade into calm. Scars heal, landscapes renew, life continues. What feels like an ending can become a beginning as you rest deeper. Picture humanity's journey after Toba. Small groups spread, adapted, learned to survive in harsher climates. Perhaps the bottleneck strengthened resilience, honed cooperation, deepened awareness of fragility. Out of near despair came persistence. Out of trial came endurance. Humanity did not vanish. It grew, breathed gently. The lesson is this. Supervolcanoes remind you not only of Earth's power, but of your own. You are small, fragile, temporary, and yet you endure, generation after generation, even under skies darkened by ash. The memory of Toba is the memory of survival. Now close your eyes again and imagine the lake today. Its waters ripple softly, clouds drift above, birds circle. You see only peace, but beneath lies memory, deep and ancient. To walk its shores is to walk on the edge of history, where Earth and humanity once met in trial. And in that memory lies both awe and reassurance. You are still here. You are resting now, your breath steady, your body sinking deeper into the calm of night. Already, you have traveled through ancient echoes, felt the shadow of Toba's fire, and listened to the silence of survival. Tonight, you drift closer to home, to the heart of North America, where forests spread, rivers wind, and geysers breathe steam into the sky. This is Yellowstone, a land of beauty and wonder. But beneath its quiet surface lies one of Earth's greatest sleepers, a supervolcano, vast, patient, and powerful. Close your eyes and imagine Yellowstone as most visitors see it. Meadows wide with bison grazing, elk stepping softly through rivers, wolves moving like shadows at dawn. Hot springs shimmer in colors of turquoise and orange, their surfaces steaming. Geysers erupt in sudden bursts, fountains of boiling water shooting skyward. To walk here is to walk in wonder, where Earth's breath is visible in clouds of steam. Yet beneath all of this, unseen, rests the sleeping heart of a supervolcano. Breathe gently. Yellowstone's surface beauty is only a reflection of its hidden power. The geysers, hot springs, and fumaroles are whispers of heat below, tiny vents through which pressure escapes. They are like the size of a giant in deep sleep, harmless in the moment, yet reminders of what lies beneath. For under Yellowstone stretches a magma system vast enough to fuel eruptions that could change the world. Now picture the magma chamber. Scientists describe it as enormous, stretching beneath the park, filled not with liquid magma alone, but with a mixture of molten rock and solid crystals, like glowing porridge waiting beneath the crust. Above it lies another chamber, smaller but still immense, connected like lungs beneath the surface. Together they form one of Earth's largest reservoirs of hidden fire. Pause here, and let this image settle. The land you walk upon is not solid and unchanging. It is layered, alive, breathing quietly even as it rests. Breathe slowly. Consider Yellowstone's history. Around 2.1 million years ago, the first great eruption reshaped the land, leaving a caldera 60 miles wide. Later, 1.3 million years ago, another eruption carved new scars. Then, 640,000 years ago, came the most recent supereruption, spreading ash across North America, cooling the climate, reshaping landscapes. Since then, smaller eruptions have followed, building lava flows, forming domes, but no eruption has matched the scale of those first three. For hundreds of thousands of years, Yellowstone has slept, its heart quiet but not extinguished. Now imagine standing at the rim of the caldera today. You would not see a vast crater, for the land has healed. Forests cover slopes, lakes fill depressions, meadows stretch green. The scars of the past are hidden beneath beauty, yet the ground still breathes. It rises and falls by centimeters each year, swelling as magma shifts, sinking as gases escape. To the untrained eye, it is invisible. To scientists, it is the slow heartbeat of a sleeper, steady and patient. Pause once more. Let this soothe you. Even giants can rest for long spans. Their power held quietly, their silence lasting longer than civilizations. Breathe deeply. Scientists monitor Yellowstone with great care. Seismographs record tremors, satellites track ground swelling, instruments measure gases rising from vents. These tools are like stethoscopes pressed to Earth's chest, listening to its pulse. The news is steady, reassuring. Yellowstone stirs, but it is not waking. It shifts, but it does not rise to violence. Its silence remains intact. Now drift into the feeling of walking among Yellowstone's hot springs. Steam rises around you, carrying the scent of minerals, sulfur, and stone. The water glows in colors created by microbes thriving in extreme heat, life flourishing where most would perish. These pools are reminders that Earth's hidden fire can also nurture, creating niches for life where none seem possible. To stand here is to feel both awe and calm, to know that beauty and danger can coexist. Pause softly. Let yourself rest in this thought. What seems threatening from afar may, up close, also be wondrous. Fire and life often walk together. As you rest deeper, picture old faithful Yellowstone's famous geyser. Every 90 minutes, it erupts, shooting boiling water into the air. Tourists gather, waiting, cameras ready. The geyser is not violent but rhythmic, a steady breath of earth made visible. Old Faithful is proof that the volcano is alive, but also that it can exhale gently, not always in cataclysm. These small exhalations are part of the balance, ways for the hidden heart to release pressure without awakening fully. Breathe gently. The lesson is this: Yellowstone is a reminder that silence does not mean stillness. Beneath the calm of forests and rivers, beneath the song of birds and the shimmer of lakes, pressure moves, magma flows, gases rise. But the earth is not reckless. Its rhythms are long, its patience vast. To live above Yellowstone is to live above a sleeper, but also to live within beauty unmatched. Now close your eyes again and imagine the heart of Yellowstone itself. Glowing magma waits miles below, moving slowly, pressing gently, exhaling through springs and geysers. It does not rush. It does not threaten daily. It simply rests, vast and patient. And in that rest, you can also rest, trusting the rhythm of the earth's long, slow breath. You are resting now, your breath slow as drifting clouds, your body softened by night's embrace. Already, you have stood above Yellowstone's sleeping heart, felt its quiet breath in geysers and hot springs. Tonight, you learn to listen more carefully, not with your ears alone, but with the patience of science. For Earth does not hide its stirring entirely. It speaks in whispers, in subtle signs carried through stone and steam. To read these signals is to read the language of sleeping giants. Close your eyes and imagine the ground beneath you. It looks still, yet it moves. Sometimes it rises, swelling gently as magma shifts below. Sometimes it sinks again, settling as gases escape. To you, the change is invisible, only centimeters each year, but satellites circling above can see it clearly. They send beams of radar, comparing each pass to the last, creating maps of uplift and subsidence. Each line is a sentence in Earth's quiet language, telling of chambers shifting in the dark. Breathe gently. Now think of earthquakes, those faint tremors that ripple through rock. Many are too small for you to feel, but seismographs instruments sensitive enough to hear the heartbeat of stone record every vibration. Each quake is a word, a crack in rock, a movement of magma. Scientists listen to these vibrations as though to music, patterns revealing whether magma is moving freely or still trapped. The earth hums constantly, and to those who listen, it is never silent. Now imagine steam rising from fumaroles, carrying gases from deep below. The air smells faintly of sulfur, sharp and acrid. Instruments measure the mix: carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide. Each gas reveals conditions in the chamber. How hot, how pressurized, how close the magma is to exhaling. When levels rise, the earth is whispering more urgently. When they fall, the breath subsides. These gases are words carried upward, invisible messages written in air. Pause here, and let this image soothe you. Earth is not reckless. It speaks, before it shouts. It whispers before it roars. Breathe slowly. Consider how all these signals come together. Satellites measure swelling. Seismographs record tremors. Instruments catch gases. Together, they form sentences, paragraphs, stories. Scientists weave them into meaning, not always certain, but always attentive. Their work is patient listening, not unlike listening to a friend's breath while they sleep. Noting each change in rhythm, now drift into the idea of patterns. Most of the time, signals rise and fall with no eruption. Magma shifts but does not break free. Pressure builds but eases again. The earth sighs, then rests. Scientists know this, and so they interpret carefully, balancing caution with patience. To read Earth's signals is not to predict exactly, but to understand tendencies, possibilities, rhythms. Pause once more. Let this bring you comfort. Even sleeping giants reveal their dreams. They do not move unseen. They leave traces in stone and steam. Breathe deeply. Imagine standing in a volcanic field, steam rising around you. Instruments hum softly. Scientists move quietly, recording data. They are like translators at the bedside of a sleeper, interpreting murmurs and shifts. They do not wake the giant. They only listen. Their listening is a kind of reverence, acknowledging Earth's power while seeking safety in its presence. Now picture the great network that spans the world. Satellites orbiting above, seismographs planted in remote valleys, gas sensors mounted near vents. Together, they form a web of awareness. Earth cannot move unnoticed. Its whispers reach human ears. Its signs are read in real time. This is humanity's way of sharing in Earth's rhythm, of acknowledging both fragility and foresight. Pause softly. Let yourself rest in this thought. You are not helpless before Earth's fire. You can listen, watch, and prepare. Awareness itself is a form of strength. As you rest deeper, think of the beauty in these signals. A geyser's eruption is a release of pressure. A hot spring's color is a record of chemistry. A tremor is a pulse in stone. Each one is both science and poetry, fact and metaphor. Earth speaks in many tongues, and all are worth hearing. Breathe gently. The lesson is this: supervolcanoes are not silent mysteries. They are storytellers, leaving marks in stone, air, and motion. To learn their language is to live with them wisely, to honor their power without fear. Now, close your eyes again and imagine yourself listening to the ground. You feel a faint tremor, see steam drifting, notice the smell of sulfur. To most, it is nothing, but to you now, it is language. The earth is speaking softly, and you understand. It is alive, it is patient, and it is telling you of its dreams. You are resting now, your breath steady and deep, your body softened by the stillness of night. Already, you have learned to listen to Earth's whispers, the tremors, the gases, the rising ground, the language of stone and steam. Tonight, you descend deeper still, into the hidden seas of fire that lie beneath the crust. For supervolcanoes are not fueled by small chambers or narrow vents. They are nourished by vast reservoirs, oceans of magma beneath the earth, patient and immense, gathering power over ages. Close your eyes and imagine yourself sinking slowly beneath Earth's skin. The soil falls away, then rock, then the darker mantle. You pass through layers of stone until you reach a chamber vast as a sea. It glows in hues of red and orange, molten rocks swirling slowly, shimmering like liquid sunlight. The heat is immense, but in your mind's vision, it does not harm you. You hover above an ocean of fire, endless and patient, moving with the rhythm of tides you cannot hear. This is the true heart of Supervolcano. Breathe gently. Magma chambers are not smooth pools, but mixtures of molten rock, crystals, and gases. They churn slowly, thicker than honey, restless but confined. In some places, they spread for tens of miles. In Yellowstone, 2 layers of magma chambers stretch beneath the park, stacked like lungs, filled with more molten rock than all the Great Lakes combined. To imagine their scale is to imagine not a mountain's worth of fire, but a sea hidden beneath mountains. Now think of the pressure such oceans hold. Each bubble of gas, each fragment of molten rock presses outward. The weight of Earth above bears down, holding it in. For centuries, millennia, the balance holds. The ocean of magma waits silently. But should the balance shift, should pressure overwhelm stone, the ocean may surge upward, breaking through with unimaginable force. This is what makes supervolcanoes rare but powerful. They do not erupt often because their reservoirs are so vast. But when they do, the scale is planetary. Pause here, and let this image settle. Below the calm of meadows and forests, beneath rivers and lakes, lie seas of fire. Oceans as real as the seas above. Breathe slowly. Consider the energy stored in these reservoirs. A single supereruption can release thousands of cubic kilometers of magma, more than enough to bury entire regions, to send ash into the sky for years. The ocean below becomes sky above, stone turned to cloud, fire turned to darkness. The scales defy imagination, and yet they are real. Written in the scars of calderas across the earth, now drift into deep time. Over millions of years, oceans of magma fill and empty. Sometimes they erupt catastrophically. Sometimes they leak gently, building domes and lava flows. Sometimes they cool before they reach the surface, freezing into new rock, sealing themselves for eons. Earth's rhythm is patient, and its oceans of magma are part of that patience. They are not constant threats, but constant presences, shaping the crust, feeding volcanoes, renewing land. Pause once more. Let this soothe you. Power contained is not always danger. It is also potential, waiting to be expressed in many forms. Breathe deeply. Imagine walking across Yellowstone's surface, unaware of the oceans below. The ground feels solid, the rivers cold, the air crisp. Yet miles beneath, magma shifts, gases swirl, heat builds. You are separated by stone, but connected by presence. The ocean below sustains geysers, colors hot springs, creates fertile soils. You live in relationship with it, even if you never see it. Now picture how scientists study these hidden seas. They cannot drill into them directly. The heat is too great, the depths too vast. Instead, they use sound, seismic waves traveling through Earth like echoes in a cavern. By measuring how these waves bend, slow, or speed up, they map the chambers below. What emerges is not a photograph but an impression, a ghostly outline of magma seas stretching beneath the crust. In this way, the invisible becomes visible, the hidden ocean revealed in shadow. Pause softly. Let yourself rest in this thought. Even what you cannot see can be known, if you learn to listen carefully as you rest deeper. Think of other supervolcanoes across the world: Topo in New Zealand, Toba in Indonesia, Campi, Flegrei in Italy. Each rests above vast magma systems, oceans of fire waiting quietly. They are not the only ones. Smaller volcanoes too are fueled by magma seas, though less immense. The Earth's crust floats upon these hidden reservoirs, thin in places, thicker in others. You live upon a planet that is never still, always circulating, always flowing beneath. Breathe gently. The lesson is this: oceans do not always mean water. There are oceans of stone, oceans of fire, oceans that shape the very continents. To imagine them is to expand your sense of Earth, to see not only its surface but its depths. Now close your eyes again and imagine yourself floating above an ocean of magma. Its surface glows, currents drift, bubbles rise like sparks. Around you, darkness stretches, the silence of stone pressing in. Yet you are calm, for you know this ocean is patient. It moves slowly, it waits, it breathes in long rhythms. You rest above it, carried by its presence, lulled by its quiet strength. You are resting now, your breath slow and steady, your body softened by the quiet of night. Already, you have descended into Earth's hidden oceans of magma, felt their vast and patient power waiting beneath the crust. Tonight, you turn your gaze upward, into the skies that carry the breath of eruptions. For when a supervolcano exhales, it is not only stone and fire that rise. It is ash, fine, weightless, carried by winds until even the sun grows dim. Close your eyes and imagine the first plume of eruption. Magma surges upward, exploding into fragments of molten rock. These fragments cool quickly in the air, becoming tiny shards of glass and crystal, so small that a handful of ash can weigh less than a feather. Yet together, in billions upon billions, they rise into the sky like grey storms. Ash clouds climb kilometers high, some reaching the stratosphere, where winds spread them around the globe. The eruption ends, but the ash remains, drifting, falling, shading the earth below. Breathe gently. Ash is not like the soft powder of a campfire. It is sharp, made of glass and stone, dangerous to lungs, heavy to roofs, deadly to engines. It settles on forests, rivers, and cities, smothering them in grey blankets. After smaller eruptions, ash may fall for days. After supereruptions, it may cover continents. Imagine fields buried, rivers clogged, skies muted. To live through such a fall is to live beneath a sky that never clears. Now think of the sunlight. Each particle of ash reflects and scatters light. The sky darkens, not as night, but as twilight stretched across days. The sun glows faintly, red or orange, dimmed behind veils. Temperatures fall as less light reaches the surface. Crops fail, seasons falter, and even summer feels like winter. This is volcanic winter, not born of snow or ice, but of ash and aerosols spread thinly in the high air. Pause here, and let this truth settle. The breath of earth can dim the breath of the sun. Breathe slowly. History remembers moments when ash darkened skies. In 1815, Tambora erupted, sending ash and sulfur into the atmosphere. The year that followed was called the year without a summer. Snow fell in June, harvests failed, hunger spread. The sunsets glowed with eerie brilliance, colors painted by ash scattering light. Pain and beauty, side by side, written in the sky. Now drift into imagination. Picture a supereruption, one larger still. Ash spreads across continents, settling meters deep in some places, dusting even distant lands. In the upper atmosphere, Sulfur aerosols linger, reflecting sunlight for years. Skies grow pale, crops wither, winters lengthen. Humanity faces not fire alone, but hunger and cold. And yet, just as after Toba, survival endures. Darkness is not forever. The skies clear, the sun returns. Ash that once darkened suns becomes part of the soil, enriching it for generations to come. Pause once more. Let this bring you comfort. Even shadows pass. What dims the sun today may nourish the earth tomorrow. Breathe deeply. Consider how scientists study these traces. Ash layers found in soils and sediments are time markers, thin grey lines stretching across continents. Each layer tells of an eruption, its reach, its scale. Ice cores hold particles of ash too, preserved for thousands of years. In them, scientists see not only fire, but its aftermath, cooling, dimming, recovery. The earth remembers in ash, and in remembering, it teaches. Now imagine yourself holding a handful of volcanic ash. It feels fine, almost like dust, but sharp between your fingers. Each grain is a fragment of story, once part of stone, broken by fire, carried by wind. It is light, but together it can darken skies. You let it fall, watching it scatter in the breeze. And you realize, even the smallest pieces can shape the world. Pause softly. Let yourself rest in this thought. Fragility and power are not opposites. A tiny grain of ash, multiplied across billions, can change the climate of a planet. As you rest deeper, think of the beauty within the shadow. Sunsets painted in strange hues, skies glowing red, purple, orange. The dimming of the sun is also a canvas, light refracted into colors rarely seen. Even in hardship, beauty lingers. Even in darkness, color blooms. Breathe gently. The lesson is this: ash is not only a mark of destruction, it is a reminder of connection between earth and sky, between eruption and climate, between shadow and renewal. It dims, but it also fertilizes. It harms, but it also heals. Ash that falls on fields becomes nutrients. Ash that buries forests becomes soil for new ones. Its story is not only of endings, but of cycles. Now close your eyes again and imagine looking up at a dimmed sky. The sun glows faintly, a muted circle. Around you, ash falls softly, soundless, like snow. It settles on your shoulders, your hair, the ground at your feet. The world feels muffled, quiet, held in a pause. You breathe slowly, and you know this, too, is Earth's breath, vast and ancient, part of a rhythm longer than your own. You are resting now, your breath slow as snow drifting on still air, your body softened by the hush of night. Already you have watched ash rise and veil the sun, felt the dimming skies of volcanic winters. Tonight, you drift into a wider dance, the long dialogue between ice and fire, between eruptions and climate, between extremes that shape the rhythm of Earth. For volcanoes do not act alone. Their breath stirs the skies, and the skies answer. This exchange is called feedback, and it is as gentle and as powerful as tides. Close your eyes and imagine an ice age. Glaciers stretch across continents, white seas of frozen time. The air is sharp, the sun weaker, life pushed into narrow bands of warmth. Beneath this ice fire waits. Magma chambers still churn, pressure still builds. When eruption comes, it bursts through ice, shattering glaciers, sending ash over snowfields. Fire melts ice, ice cools fire, each reshaping the other. The dialogue is fierce, but also balanced. Breathe gently. Feedbacks are cycles, loops where cause and effect fold into one another. A supereruption sends ash and sulfur into the sky. The planet cools. Glaciers grow. As glaciers expand, their weight presses down on crust, sealing magma below. But when ice melts, the pressure lessens and eruptions become more likely. Fire influences ice, ice influences fire, and Earth carries both in its rhythm. Now imagine standing at the edge of a glacier with a volcano beneath. The mountain rumbles, heat rises, snow melts into rivers. Steam billows as fire touches ice. Sometimes the eruption carves vast floods called J-sklooplops, torrents of water rushing suddenly from beneath glaciers. Valleys are reshaped in hours, landscapes rewritten by the meeting of opposites. To witness this is to see Earth in dialogue, not in conflict, but in exchange. Pause here, and let this soothe you. Opposites do not always fight. Sometimes they speak to one another, weaving balance from extremes. Breathe slowly. Consider how past supereruptions may have shifted climate. The Toba eruptions sent aerosols into the sky, cooling Earth for years. Some scientists believe it deepened the Ice Age, others that it sharpened existing cold. Each eruption leaves not only ash but feedback, carrying effects that ripple outward. Crops fail, ecosystems shift, human populations adapt or move. The planet does not simply react, it converses, reshaping itself in cycles of centuries. Now drift further back in time, millions of years ago. Vast eruptions called flood basalts covered regions with lava for hundreds of thousands of years. The gases they released warmed the planet, sometimes ending ice ages. At other times, explosive eruptions cooled it, tipping climates back towards snow. Fire and ice take turns, not in chaos but in long rhythms. The earth breathes in heat, exhales in cold, and life rides the currents between. Pause once more. Let this bring you peace. Extremes are not forever. They are part of cycles, and cycles return always to balance. Breathe deeply. Think of feedback not as fear, but as music. Each eruption is a note, each glacier a chord, together composing Earth's climate song. Sometimes the song is warm, sometimes cold, sometimes loud with fire, sometimes hushed with snow. You live in a moment of this music, but the song itself stretches across eons. Now picture yourself walking on volcanic ash that has settled onto ice. The black dust absorbs sunlight, warming quickly, melting patches of glacier. Holes form, streams flow. In this way, even after the eruption ends, feedback continues. Ash hastens melting. Melting changes landscapes. Landscapes influence climate. Every part is connected, woven together like threads of a single tapestry. Pause softly. Let yourself rest in this thought. Nothing on Earth happens alone. Fire shapes ice, ice shapes fire. Each responds. Each remembers as you rest deeper. Imagine the skies during these feedbacks. After eruptions, sunsets glow red, mornings dim, the air feels cooler, crops strain, rivers freeze earlier. Yet years later, warmth may return, balance restored. Life bends but continues, adapting to new rhythms. Humanity, too, has always lived within these cycles, moving, planting, storing, telling stories to remember the extremes. You are not separate from this song. You are part of it. Breathe gently. The lesson is this: Earth is a dialogue, not a monologue. Volcanoes speak in ash and lava. Glaciers answer in ice and silence. Together they weave the climate you inherit. To fear one without the other is to miss the balance. To understand both is to live in harmony with the planet's breath. Now close your eyes again and imagine glaciers gleaming beneath a dimmed sun, volcanic peaks steaming at their edges. Fire and ice together, not enemies, but partners in shaping the world. You breathe slowly, and in that breath, you feel both warmth and coolness, extremes held gently within balance. You are resting now, your breath slow and even, your body sinking deeper into the hush of night. Already, you have walked through feedbacks of fire and ice, seen how volcanoes and glaciers speak to one another in cycles of balance. Tonight, you descend into the very landscapes fire leaves behind, alien yet earthly, strange yet beautiful. For when Earth exhales through supervolcanoes, it sculpts lakes of sulfur and rivers of stone. These places are not only scars, but windows into the chemistry of creation. Close your eyes and imagine a fresh eruption, the land reshaped overnight. Lava flows pour down valleys, glowing rivers that move slowly yet relentlessly. They are thick, heavy, like stone turned liquid. Trees vanish before them, rivers are blocked, landscapes are buried. Yet, as the flows cool, they harden into black plains, stone frozen in motion. Paths carved by fire remain for centuries, reminders of the river that once glowed red. Breathe gently. Now picture a lava lake, a pool of molten rock at the summit of a vent. Its surface churns like a restless sea, waves of fire rising and falling. The air is hot, the light dazzling, yet in your vision you stand safely, watching. The lake glows orange and gold, each bubble bursting with a hiss of gas, releasing Earth's hidden breath into the sky. This is the planet's heart made visible, not as myth but as matter. Now drift towards sulfur lakes, born of volcanic gases. In craters where water collects, gases seep upward. Sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, turning the water yellow and green. The air smells sharp, the surface steams. These lakes are toxic to drink, yet strangely beautiful, glowing like jewels beneath the sky. Kawah Ijen in Indonesia is one such place, its sulfur mines glowing blue at night as flames flicker from burning gas. It is Earth painted in colors not found elsewhere. A reminder that even danger can be beautiful. Pause here and let this truth settle. Landscapes born of fire may seem hostile, but they are part of Earth's language, necessary chapters in its story. Breathe slowly. Consider the rivers of stone that stretch across Iceland, Hawaii, and ancient flood basalts. Lava flows for kilometers, sometimes covering entire regions. When it cools, it leaves basalt, dark, dense, rich with minerals. Over time, these rocks break down, weather into fertile soils, feeding forests and fields. What begins as destruction ends as renewal. From stone, life takes root again. Now imagine standing at the edge of such a plain. Black rock stretches to the horizon, cracked and sharp, yet mosses cling to it. Lichens spread in patterns, the first whispers of green. Years later, grasses arrive, then shrubs, then forests. Rivers of stone become meadows, lava deserts turn to gardens. You realize fire is not only an ending, but a beginning written slowly. Pause once more. Let this bring you peace. What looks lifeless today may become the soil of tomorrow. Breathe deeply. Think of the chemistry within these lakes and rivers. Sulfur gases rise, mix with rain, form acids that shape rocks, carve caves, create crystals. Lava cools into patterns, columns of basalt forming hexagons, surfaces rippling into rope-like pahoe. Each form is a memory of flow, frozen in place. Scientists study these structures not only to learn Earth's processes, but to glimpse what other planets might hold. Lakes of sulfur, rivers of stone, exist not only here, but perhaps on Venus, on Io, on distant worlds. To study them is to see Earth reflected in the cosmos. Now drift into the thought of life. Even in toxic lakes, microbes thrive, adapted to extremes. They breathe sulfur, feed on minerals, glow faintly in heat. In lava fields, tiny organisms colonize cracks, beginning the slow cycle of renewal. These extremophiles show that life is resilient, capable of finding niches in places that seem impossible. Their presence suggests that if life can thrive here, it may thrive elsewhere, on icy moons, on distant exoplanets, near alien volcanoes. Pause softly. Let yourself rest in this thought. Even in fire, life finds a way to whisper as you rest deeper. Picture the people who have lived among these landscapes. For millennia, humans have both feared and revered volcanoes. Sulfur was mined for medicines and rituals. Lava plains became fertile fields. Myths grew around lakes that glowed strange colors, rivers that hardened into stone. To stand near them was to stand at the edge of creation, humbled by forces beyond control. Humanity's story is woven with these giants, not separate from them. Breathe gently. The lesson is this: lakes of sulfur and rivers of stone are not just scars. They are reminders of Earth's cycles, destruction and renewal, danger and beauty, silence and breath. To walk among them is to remember that Earth is alive, shaping and reshaping itself, offering both challenge and gift. Now close your eyes again and imagine yourself beside a sulfur lake at dawn. Steam rises, golden light shimmers on the surface, the air smells sharp. You breathe slowly, calmly, knowing you are safe in this vision. Then you walk across a plain of hardened lava, cracks beneath your feet glowing faintly as if embers still linger. The land feels quiet now, but alive with memory. You rest within that memory, soothed by the patience of stone. You are resting now, your breath slow as evening tides, your body carried gently by the stillness of night. Already, you have walked among sulfur lakes and rivers of stone, seen the alien beauty that eruptions leave behind. Tonight, you turn your gaze toward people, toward humanity's long relationship with the giants of fire. For volcanoes are not only geological, they are cultural, spiritual, and deeply human. We have lived beside them, feared them, revered them, and learned from them since the beginning of memory. Close your eyes and imagine the first, humans standing at a safe distance from a glowing mountain. Fire spills down its sides, ash billows into the sky. To them, this is not geology. It is presence, a god, a spirit, a force beyond understanding. They feel awe, fear, and reverence all at once. They tell stories to explain the fire, gods breathing, mountains angry, underworlds opening. Myths are born from the sight of giants breathing in stone and flame. Breathe gently. Across cultures, volcanoes became sacred. In Hawaii, Pele, the goddess of fire, is said to live within Klauia, her temper shaping land and sea. In Japan, Mount Fuji is honored as sacred, a symbol of beauty and strength. In Italy, Mount Vesuvius was once seen as the forge of gods, its smoke a reminder of divine power. These stories are not mistakes of science, but poetry of relationship. They remind us that humans have always sought meaning in the presence of giants. Now imagine Pompeii, 2,000 years ago. A bustling Roman town, streets alive with merchants, children playing, fountains flowing. Above, Vesuvius looms, silent for centuries, seen as a mountain, not a volcano. Then, in 79 CE, it erupts. Ash falls, roofs collapse, lives are buried in an instant. The town is preserved in stone, a memory of ordinary life caught in extraordinary fire. Today, Pompeii whispers to you of fragility, how civilizations can rise in the shadows of giants. Unaware of their breath until it comes. Pause here, and let this truth settle. Living beside volcanoes is both danger and gift. Breathe slowly. Think of the gifts. Volcanic soils are rich, nourished by ash and minerals. Civilizations have flourished in their shadows, planting crops in fertile fields. Vineyards grow in Italy on volcanic slopes. Rice paddies in Indonesia thrive in volcanic valleys. Fire destroys, yet it also renews. Humans return again and again, drawn to the land that feeds them. Danger is balanced by abundance. Now drift into stories of survival. In 1815, Tambora erupted, darkening skies, causing hunger across the world. Yet people adapted, finding ways to endure, telling stories that carried lessons. In Iceland, after the Loki eruption of 1783, famine spread, but resilience endured. Communities rebuilt, carried forward by memory and adaptation. Humanity has always been both fragile and enduring, always finding ways to live even when giants stir. Pause once more. Let this bring you comfort. To live beside giants is to learn humility, but also resilience. Breathe deeply. Consider how myths, art, and stories preserve these relationships. Paintings of eruptions glow with fire. Poems describe skies turned dark. Legends explain mountains' moods. Each is a way of remembering, of carrying awe forward. Even now, you tell stories of Yellowstone, Toba, Topo, not just as geology, but as presence. Humanity does not live apart from giants, but within their shadows, shaped by their patience and their breath. Now imagine yourself walking through a volcanic village today. Children run across fields, farmers tend crops, steam rises in the distance. Life feels ordinary, yet beneath lies magma, waiting in silence. People know this, yet they live here still. To them, volcanoes are not only threats, they are neighbors, woven into culture, land, and life. To live beside giants is to accept their rhythm as part of your own. Pause softly. Let yourself rest in this thought. Awe is not fear. Awe is the recognition of power beyond yourself, met with reverence as you rest deeper. Think of how humanity has also turned to science, not only myth. Today, monitoring stations surround volcanoes. Instruments listen, satellites watch, gases are measured. Yet even as science grows, awe remains. A volcano erupting still silences crowds, still stirs hearts with wonder. Humans measure, but they also marvel. Both are ways of relationship, not opposed but entwined. Breathe gently. The lesson is this: supervolcanoes are not only Earth's giants, they are also humanity's teachers. They remind you of fragility, but also of endurance. They destroy, but they also renew. They humble, but they also inspire. To live beside them is to learn balance, to see both danger and beauty in the same breath. Now close your eyes again, and imagine yourself standing at Yellowstone's rim, at Toba's shore, at Vesuvius's base. You are one of millions who have stood here, past and present, feeling awe in the shadow of giants. You breathe slowly, knowing you are part of their story, not separate from it. Their patience has allowed you to live. Their power has shaped your world. Their presence has inspired your myths. You rest in their shadow, humbled but calm. You are resting now, your breath slow as the rhythm of waves, your body sinking deeper into the calm of night. Already, you have walked in the shadow of giants, listened to myths and stories of awe, felt how humanity has always lived with volcanoes. Tonight, you enter the quiet watch of science, the patient practice of listening to sleepers, of studying supervolcanoes with instruments as careful as stethoscopes. For though they rest, their breath can still be measured, their dreams still traced. Science is not only numbers and machines, it is listening, watching, and waiting with reverence. Close your eyes and imagine scientists gathered at Yellowstone. Campi, Flagray, or Topo. They are not warriors, but listeners, carrying tools that stretch human senses into realms unseen. Where you cannot feel tremors, they feel them. Where you cannot see the ground swell, they map it. Where you cannot taste gases in the air, they measure their mix. Each instrument is like an extension of the human body. New eyes, new ears, new breaths. Together, they form a circle of attention around sleeping giants. Breathe gently. Begin with sight. These are ears pressed to Earth's crust, listening for vibrations. When magma shifts below, the rock cracks and tremors ripple outward. Some are so faint that only machines can detect them. The seismograph draws lines on paper, jagged or smooth, a language of motion. Scientists learn to read this language, to know when tremors are ordinary murmurs, when they are signs of magma stirring. The earth hums constantly, and these instruments turn its hum into a story. Now think of GPS and satellites. They are eyes watching the land itself. With precision down to millimeters, they record how ground rises or sinks. A bulge in the land may mean magma is pressing upward. A sudden dip may mean pressure has been released. Satellites use radar to compare one pass to the next, mapping swelling plains and shifting calderas. What you cannot see with your eyes, they reveal the patient breathing of the ground itself. Pause here and let this truth soothe you. The earth cannot move unnoticed. Even sleepers leave traces of their dreams. Breathe slowly. Consider gas sensors, sniffing the air for whispers from below. Carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, each has its meaning. A rise in sulfur may signal magma near the surface. A surge in carbon dioxide may mean gases escaping from depth. These instruments act as noses, sensing what humans cannot, turning invisible breaths into signs. Now drift into the skies. Satellites not only watch land, but air. They trace plumes of gases, follow ash, measure aerosols. Their vision is wide, spanning continents, reminding you that volcanoes are not local but global in their reach. When a supervolcano breathes, the whole planet feels it, and satellites watch its shadow spread. Pause once more. Let this bring you comfort. You are not blind before Earth's giants. You have given yourself tools to see, to listen, to understand. Breathe deeply. Think of the networks of monitoring that now surround volcanoes. In Yellowstone, hundreds of instruments hum quietly, transmitting data every second. In Italy, Campi Flegrei is watched closely, its restless breath measured in heat and gas. In Iceland, sensors dot glaciers, ready to catch the first stirrings beneath ice. This web of attention is humanity's way of honoring giants, not by disturbing them, but by listening carefully to their sleep. Now imagine the scientists who dedicate their lives to this work. They wake each morning, check readings, compare signals. Most days, the data shows only small changes, tremors, swells, whispers. They know eruptions are rare, yet they listen anyway. Their patience mirrors Earth's own, long and steady. They are watchers of sleepers, guardians not by control but by awareness. Pause softly. Let yourself rest in this thought. Vigilance is a form of respect. To watch with care is to honor what you cannot command. As you rest deeper, picture the ways signals combine. Tremors swelling, gas surges, each alone may mean little, but together they form patterns. When patterns align, scientists grow more alert, sharing warnings, preparing communities. To predict precisely may be impossible, but to prepare is not. Science gives not certainty, but awareness, and awareness itself saves lives. Breathe gently. The lesson is this: watching sleepers is not about fear. It is about humility and readiness. Supervolcanoes cannot be tamed, but their whispers can be heard, their breaths recorded. To listen is to live wisely in their presence. Now close your eyes again and imagine yourself as a listener too. You feel tremors through the soles of your feet, sense gases in the air, watch the ground rise and fall like breath. You are part of the network now, attentive and calm. You do not fear the sleeper. You only listen, patiently, gently, as one would listen to a heartbeat in the quiet of night. You are resting now, your breath soft and even, your body wrapped in the calm of night. Already, you have learned how humanity listens to Earth's sleepers, reading tremors and gases as though they were whispers of a dream. Tonight, you drift into a quieter but deeper reflection, the risk we carry. For to live on Earth is to live with giants beneath your feet. Their breath is ancient, their silence long, but their power endures. And though eruptions may be rare, their possibility is always with you. A shadow woven into life's fabric. Close your eyes and imagine Earth as it spins in space. Blue and green, oceans and forests, clouds drifting above. From a distance, it seems calm, balanced, whole. But you know that beneath its thin crust lies heat, pressure, fire. Supervolcanoes rest across continents, their calderas filled with forests, lakes, and towns. They sleep, but their presence is constant. The risk is not daily danger, but the knowledge that, one day, silence will break. Breathe gently. The chance of a supereruption in your lifetime is small, perhaps less than one in many thousands of years. Yet the scale of such an event is vast enough that even a small probability matters. It is like living beneath a mountain that may someday shift, or by an ocean that may someday surge. You carry the risk not in fear, but in awareness, woven into your shared existence with Earth. Now think of what such an eruption means. Ash veils skies, cooling spreads across continents, crops fail, trade falters, famine looms. The risk is not only fire, but the chain of consequences that ripple outward. Societies depend on sunlight, harvests, climate stability. When the sun dims, fragility is revealed. Food shortages, migrations, conflicts, all are part of the web that risk may stir. Pause here, and let this truth settle. Risk is not only numbers, it is the recognition of fragility. Breathe slowly. Consider how risk is measured. Scientists study frequencies of past eruptions, layers of ash across continents, ice cores that hold volcanic particles. They calculate probabilities, not certainties. They map what might happen, not what must. This is the paradox of risk. You cannot predict precisely, yet you must still prepare. To ignore is reckless. To obsess is paralyzing. Balance lies in humility, to acknowledge the risk, to live wisely in its shadow. Now drift into how humanity carries this awareness. Governments plan, scientists monitor, communities build resilience. Emergency stores of grain, international cooperation, early warning systems. These are threads of preparation. They may not prevent eruptions, but they soften consequences. Risk cannot be erased, but it can be carried more gently. Pause once more. Let this bring you comfort. To share risk is to lessen its weight. What no single person can carry, humanity carries together. Breathe deeply. Think of the perspective this gives. To know you live with supervolcanoes is to remember you are fragile, temporary, and yet capable of foresight. The earth is vast, patient, beyond your control. But you are not powerless. You can prepare, listen, adapt. This is the wisdom of carrying risk, to live not in denial, not in fear, but in readiness. Now imagine standing in a caldera meadow. The sky is clear, the land is quiet. Children play, birds sing, rivers flow. Life feels normal, ordinary. Yet beneath lies magma, waiting in silence. This is the image of the risk you carry, invisible most days, yet always there. It does not stop life, it does not end joy, but it is part of existence. You breathe calmly, knowing the meadow and the magma are both real. Pause softly. Let yourself rest in this thought. Life has always lived in the presence of risk. To love, to grow, to build, is to accept uncertainty. To live on earth is to accept giants as neighbors. As you rest deeper, think of the gifts hidden in this awareness. Risk teaches humility. It reminds you to cherish stability, to value sunlight, to treasure food and water. It teaches cooperation, for survival in times of eruption depends on community. It teaches perspective, for in the face of Earth's vast power, human quarrels seem small. The risk you carry is not only burden, but lesson. Breathe gently. The lesson is this: carrying risk is not about fear, but about reverence. It is to walk gently upon the earth, aware of its hidden depths, grateful for its silence. It is to prepare without panic, to remember without despair, to live fully even with shadows at your side. Now close your eyes again, and imagine yourself as part of a long chain of humanity. Your ancestors carried this risk through Toba, Tombora, and Topo. You carry it now. Future generations will carry it too. The shadow of supervolcanoes is part of being human, part of living on a breathing planet. You cannot erase it, but you can carry it wisely, with patience and care. You are resting now, your breath soft as drifting clouds, your body carried gently by the silence of night. Already you have felt the weight of risk, the quiet knowledge that supervolcanoes sleep beneath your feet, their patience vast, their power immense. Tonight you drift into a more tender space, the dreams of prevention. For though humanity cannot command Earth's giants, it has always dreamed of finding ways to calm them, to ease their breath, to soften their awakening. These are not certainties, but gentle visions, scientific musings, fragile as candle flames. Yet born of hope, close your eyes and imagine scientists gathered around maps of Yellowstone, of Toba, of Campi Flegrei. They trace the outlines of magma chambers, calculate pressures, model flows. Their eyes do not only measure risk, they imagine possibilities. Could we prevent an eruption? Could we ease pressure before it becomes too great? Could we soothe the sleeper rather than wait for its roar? These questions are not arrogance, but longing, a wish to protect life, to live more gently with giants, breathe gently. One dream is drilling, reaching into magma chambers with deep wells. If holes could be drilled, pressure might be released gradually, heat carried upward into the open air. The danger, of course, is immense. Disturbing a chamber might awaken it, not calm it. The logistics are staggering, the technology not yet enough. And yet, the dream lingers. For to imagine release is to imagine control, however faint. Now think of another dream, cooling. Scientists imagine pumping water deep into chambers, letting it circulate, carrying heat away, turning magma into solid stone. Some say that if Yellowstone were cooled steadily, it might never erupt again. But to cool such a vast chamber would take centuries, millennia, and energy beyond comprehension. The Earth's fire is not easily subdued. Yet still, the dream persists, for even impossibility can inspire pause here. And let this soothe you. Dreaming of prevention is not foolishness. It is humanity's way of seeking harmony, of reaching for peace even with forces beyond control. Breathe slowly. Consider how these dreams overlap with other needs. Geothermal energy, for instance, could be harvested from magma's heat. Tapping this resource might both provide power for humanity and gently release pressure. A double gift, safety and sustenance. Yet again, the scale is daunting. Drilling miles into the crust, managing heat vast as oceans, requires technology not yet within reach. The dream remains, glowing faintly like a star in the distance. Now drift into the thought of observation itself as prevention. To listen carefully, to study constantly, is its own form of soothing. By knowing when pressure grows, by preparing in advance, humanity lessens harm. Prevention may not always mean stopping eruption, but softening its effects, building resilient food systems, sharing resources, sheltering populations. The dream is not always to silence the giant, but to live wisely when it stirs. Pause once more. Let this bring you comfort. Prevention is not always control. Sometimes, prevention is preparation. Breathe deeply. Imagine humanity centuries from now, with technology far beyond today's. Perhaps spacecraft circle the Earth, mapping magma chambers in perfect detail. Perhaps drills stretch deeper, stronger, carrying cool water into fiery depths. Perhaps energy from volcanoes powers cities, their heat transformed into light. Dreams of prevention may take generations, but dreaming itself is timeless. Each thought is a seed planted for futures not yet seen. Now picture yourself standing by a steaming vent. You see gases rising, hear instruments humming, watch scientists recording. Their work is steady, quiet, almost meditative. They do not shout commands at Earth. They listen, imagine, and dream. You realize prevention is not only action, it is attitude, the the choice to meet danger with curiosity, fear with vision, power with humility. Pause softly. Let yourself rest in this thought. To dream of prevention is to believe in possibility, even when certainty is out of reach. As you rest deeper, think of the balance between humility and hope. Humility reminds you that Earth's power is beyond your command. Hope reminds you that human imagination is vast, always seeking ways to adapt, soften, and protect. Between these lies wisdom, to dream without arrogance, to prepare without despair. Breathe gently. The lesson is this: prevention is not about conquering giants, but about learning to live beside them with grace. Some dreams may never come true. Others may unfold slowly over centuries. But the act of dreaming is itself a gift, a way of saying, we will not only fear, we will also imagine. Now close your eyes again and imagine the Earth's giants resting beneath you. You do not try to wake them nor silence them. You simply dream of cooling, of calming, of preparing. Your dream joins those of scientists, of future generations, of all who hope for peace with the planet. The dream glows softly in the dark, like embers, like stars, guiding humanity forward. You are resting now, your breath slow and rhythmic, your body carried gently by the stillness of night. Already, you have drifted through humanity's dreams of prevention, through visions of cooling magma and calming giants. Tonight, you turn toward a deeper paradox, that fire, even when it destroys, also creates. For Earth's greatest eruptions are not only endings, they are beginnings. They carve landscapes, enrich soils, spark renewal. Destruction and creation are not separate, but entwined in fire's rhythm. Close your eyes and imagine a volcanic eruption. Lava spills down slopes, forests vanish, rivers are blocked. To see it in the moment is to see loss, green turned black, life erased. Yet pause and look again across time. The hardened lava becomes new land. The ash, once suffocating, weathers into fertile soil. Seeds take root, forests return, richer than before. Destruction opens the door for creation. Fire clears the way for renewal. Breathe gently. Consider Hawaii, where islands themselves were born of eruptions. Layer upon layer of lava flowed into the sea, cooling into rock, building mountains that rose above the ocean. Life arrived later, plants drifting on the wind, birds carrying seeds, humans voyaging across waters. Without fire, there would be no islands, no homes, no cultures grown in their embrace. Destruction of ocean floor became creation of land. Now think of the rich soils near Vesuvius in Italy. Farmers cultivate vineyards, orchards, and fields on land enriched by centuries of ash. Minerals left behind by eruptions feed plants more deeply than ordinary soils. People risk living near danger because the gift is so great. Fire may threaten, but it also nourishes. Pause here and let this truth settle. What ends one life may begin another. Breathe slowly. Even mass extinctions, tied in part to vast volcanic outpourings, cleared paths for new life. When flood basalts spread across India 66 million years ago, they contributed to the extinction of the dinosaurs. Yet, in the aftermath, mammals rose, forests flourished, and eventually humanity emerged. Fire that ended one era opened another. Now drift into the thought of resilience. On fresh lava flows, the first life to return is often moss and lichen. They cling to cracks, breaking stone into soil. Then grasses arrive, then shrubs, then forests. Within decades or centuries, what was once black desert becomes vibrant green. The cycle repeats endlessly. Destruction, renewal, creation. Pause once more. Let this bring you peace. Endings are not final. They are transitions, thresholds through which life continues. Breathe deeply. Consider also the gifts fire gives beyond soil. Volcanic gases, released in deep time, built much of the atmosphere you breathe. Water vapor from countless eruptions filled skies, condensed into rain, created oceans. Without volcanic breath, Earth might have been barren, dry, lifeless. Even the air and water that sustain you are gifts of fire. Now picture a volcanic hot spring, steaming with minerals. In Earth's early days, such pools may have been the cradle of life itself. Chemical energy, heat, and water combined to spark the first simple organisms. From volcanic pools came the beginning of the long story that leads to you. Fires, destruction, and creation are not only cycles of land, but cycles of life itself. Pause softly. Let yourself rest in this thought. You are here because of fire. As you rest deeper, think of how this paradox lives in you, too. In your body, cells burn fuel, releasing energy. Old cells die so new ones may form. Destruction and creation happen within you every moment. You are not separate from the planet's rhythm. You mirror it, carry it, embody it. Breathe gently. The lesson is this. Supervolcanoes remind you of life's duality. They show that what seems like catastrophe in one frame of time can become renewal in another. They reveal that endings and beginnings are threads of the same fabric. Fire is not only a threat, it is a giver, shaping continents, sustaining soils, breathing air, even sparking life. Now close your eyes again and imagine yourself standing in a meadow that was once a lava field. Flowers sway, bees hum, children laugh. Beneath your feet, stone still remembers fire, but above, life thrives in abundance. You breathe calmly, knowing that creation rose from destruction, that fire's gift is hidden even in its fiercest breath. You are resting now, your breath slow and tender, your body sinking deeper into the quiet of night. Already, you have walked through the hidden fires of Earth, listened to magma waiting in silence, seen ash veil, suns and ice speak to fire. You have learned of risk and resilience, of destruction and creation. Tonight, in this closing journey, you do not travel deeper into magma or higher into ash. Instead, you simply rest in the presence of giants, humbled but unafraid, knowing you live upon a breathing, patient world. Close your eyes and imagine a vast meadow stretched across the floor of an ancient caldera. The grass bends softly in the wind, wildflowers bloom, a lake shimmers beneath the sky. To most, it looks ordinary, but you know the truth. This is a place shaped by fire long ago. Beneath lies a scar. Beneath that scar lies magma, and beyond that lies the deep heartbeat of Earth itself. And yet, above, there is peace. Children play, birds sing, clouds drift. Life and fire exist together, not in conflict, but in balance. Breathe gently. This is what it means to rest in the presence of giants, to live each day not denying their existence, but accepting their rhythm. You do not know when they will stir. You do not control their dreams, but you walk in their shadow, plant in their soils, drink water from rivers they shaped, breathe air their breath once filled. You are not separate from them. You are part of their story. Now imagine Yellowstone. its hot springs steaming in morning light, colors glowing turquoise and gold. Imagine Toba, its lake shining calm, tourists and fishermen unaware of its ancient shadow. Imagine Topo, a mirror of sky, peaceful above a chamber once vast with fire. Each place is a reminder that silence can last longer than memory, that giants can sleep for ages, allowing life to flourish in their presence. Pause here, and let this truth settle. Peace is not the absence of power. Peace is the coexistence of power and patience. Breathe slowly. Consider how supervolcanoes shape not only land but perspective. They remind you of scale, that your life is short compared to their rhythms, that civilizations rise and fall within their silence. They remind you of fragility, that skies can darken, harvests can fail, yet humanity endures. And they remind you of awe, that even in silence, their presence is vast, their patience immense. Now drift into the thought of trust. You cannot prevent their eventual awakening. You cannot erase the risk, but you can trust their rhythm, long and slow, and live fully within it. You can trust the resilience of life, the creativity of humanity, the balance of Earth itself. To rest in the presence of giants is not to fear their power, but to respect it, to live with gratitude for the silence they grant. Pause once more. Let this bring you comfort. Giants may stir, but for now, they let you dream. Breathe deeply. Think of how humanity has grown under their watch. You learned to tell stories of fire, to measure tremors, to share resources, to plant in ash, to build resilience. Every gift of knowledge, every adaptation, every act of preparation is part of your relationship with them. They have taught you patience, humility, reverence. Their presence has shaped not only landscapes but minds. Now close your eyes again and imagine the Earth as a whole. Continents floating, oceans shimmering, clouds drifting. Beneath it all, heat circulates, magma flows, giants rest. From space, you see no scars, no chambers, only beauty. You realize the giants are part of that beauty, unseen but essential. Without them, there would be no mountains, no fertile soils, no air or oceans. They are not only risks, they are foundations. Breathe gently. The lesson is this: to live on Earth is to live in relationship with giants. Their silence is your opportunity. Their breath is your atmosphere. Their fire is your soil. Their presence is not apart from you. It is within you. You are shaped by them, carried by them, sustained by them. Now rest in this presence. You do not need to travel further, nor learn more. You only need to breathe, slowly and softly, knowing you are safe tonight. The giants are still. The earth is quiet. The stars shine above, and you are part of this great balance.